Oh my God. Oh my God. What's about to go down is what we've been waiting for since the last camp. So we're about to enter the couples panel. Couples panel. So the couples panel, if you're new to the UFIC youth camp, couples panel is a session we go deep into real life matters that mean the most to us. For years, this session gets so hot, we never get enough time. This session gets so serious, we never get enough time. We ask real questions that might be happening to us. Sometimes it's not necessarily us that are asking. Sometimes it's happening to our friends. Sometimes it's happening in the communities that we are coming from, and we are vexed by certain questions. And we have a special panel that comes through, and we start delving into these issues. And it's always been a phenomenal time we enter into. And what makes this session better, it's a safe space for all. We've heard the most difficult questions. We've heard the most concerning questions. We've had questions that have changed lives. But this panel means so much to us and our generation. And for this year, we have a special panel handpicked just for us to delve into the delicacies of relationships. So we want to welcome this special panel to the stage. It's a unique panel, and the way I want us to receive them, as they walk in, we want to give them a round of applause. We want to scream, we want to shout for them, and I'll introduce them a little bit later on. But if we can have right now our couples panel to come through. Come on, look at them. Look at them. Come on, scream, stand. Let's all stand. Let's all stand. Let's all stand. Oh, look at the way they're holding their hands. You can already tell. Sweet. All in love. Bubbling, bubbling, bubbling. Come on, louder, louder, louder. Hey, 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 hey. Things are getting spicy. But listen to this. Listen to this. Help me to welcome this special man, Danielson Musekiwa. Let's give him a round of applause. Louder, louder, louder. Yup. now quickly I want to introduce our special panel. And this panel, firstly, let me start with Pastor Green and Tari Mudena, all the way from Polokwane, South Africa. There's a beautiful couple. They met in their varsity days. They've been married for 10 years now. Blessed with 3 beautiful children, 2 boys, and the boy and a girl are twins. So there's a blessed couple. And they're here for just for you and me. And next we have Pastor Donald and Lindsay Savanu. Yes. So Pastor Donald and Lindsay have been married for 16 years now in this marriage thing. And they've been blessed with 5 beautiful children. They met, 2 years before the 16 years, so it's 18 years together. And they've built a strong and aligned partnership rooted in faith and in growth. And they bring a practical and honest perspective on balancing marriage, family, and calling. So let's celebrate Pastor Donald and Lindsay Sawanu. And lastly, let's welcome Pastor Amos and Linda Kumwenda. Also known as Pastor AK, this couple has been married for 21 years. They've been blessed with 4 beautiful children in those 21 years. As a couple, they run live, real-life mentorship programs for youth and young couples. Their approach has been grounded in realism, sharing lessons from both successes and challenges, so young people can thrive in relationships, careers, and faith. One more time, help me welcome the Love Panel for 2026 Youth Camp. So this is our first question. It says, Shalom, everyone. My question is coming from the statement that Prophet once said that it's not everyone who should get married. So how do I know that I am among those people that must not get married? Is it struggling in getting in relationships, or there is a sign that shows that you belong to that group of people? Over to you, panel.
Thank you, Pastor. Shalom, God Nation. Thank you. Just to put a contribution on that, I think the best thing that we can do to help ourselves in this wealth of information that we get from our parents is to look into our parents' messages holistically. You cannot pick one sermon on one sentence or statement and then make a doctrine out of that. Some sentences, they are coming to address certain questions. We have what we call an option. And one of the things that were given options include marriage. An option gives you a right, but not an obligation. So when you have an option in life of getting married, you have a right of getting married, but you do not have an obligation to get married.
Come on, a shout of praise. So it's a great honor to have our parents It's a great honor. We may take our seats. Thank you so much. What an honor and a great privilege it is. Just makes the session so much sweeter. That's right. So, thank you so much, our parents, for honoring us. We're in our first question, and the panel was answering a question that came from the youth. This question that was asked says, "Shalom, everyone. My question is coming from the statement that Prophet once said that it's not everyone who should get married. So how do I know that I am amongst those people? Is it something that is written on me? Is it struggling in getting in relationships? Or is there a sign that shows that you belong to that group?" And Pastor Amos just answered that question so brilliantly. And I'd want to know, maybe over to you, Pastor Savanu, if you want to take over.
Okay, thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you, Mom and Dad. Like the question came, Prophet has said so much, and like my brother alluded, that you cannot build a doctrine over one thing. But before you relegate yourself from marriage, it's also good to consider the option of marriage itself. But also to say, why do they call marriage an institution? Because it's not every institution that is for everyone. But institutions are built for the people. Every school that we see that is out there, because marriage does bring a lot of good stuff and the bad stuff, but you now need to train yourself to say, this thing is for me, and before I relegate myself from it, this is meant for me, because the information that our prophet has provided has also qualified all of us to qualify for that particular institution. So I don't think it's the best of things to say, I'm not fit for that before trying it out. So just in short, maybe I would say that.
Over to you, Pastor Green.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. It's a pleasure and a blessing, a privilege to be here. Amen. Well, that question, my fellow brothers have answered it really well. Just to add, there was a part of the question which says, do I know it's mine or it's not mine because of struggling to get into it, or how easy it is to get into it? I think it's a matter of assessing yourself to see whether you are ready to give what is required by what you want to be a part of. If you see yourself having enough in you to give what is demanded, then it should be easy. It is yours. But then if you find that there are things that might be required that you are not willing to give, you don't need anyone to tell you that it's not for you. But again, it does not mean you don't try. Because sometimes if you try, it doesn't start with marriage, right? It starts through a relationship. So you can try a relationship and see if the requirements of a relationship are easy for you to meet. And then we take it a step further. So maybe avoid thinking from the end of the matter when it comes to marriage, and do it step by step. Because you are going to find that maybe there is something that you have witnessed or experienced before that is now making you think that it's not good for you. But people are different. When you get to meet someone, you might see that they will show you things that maybe your parents were not able to show you. And that makes them good for marriage, even if it was bad for your experience. So that's my take on that.
Come on, let's give them a round of applause. Just to come back with a follow-up question that I think ties in well with what we're discussing. So let's say that now, after maybe 40 years, someone who was struggling to get into marriage finally finds a partner or a lover, someone, a 40-year-old woman, 42, she finds a 32-year-old young man who's willing to fall in love. The question that I have here says, would you say age matters if, say, the woman is older than the guy? I thought it would fit in well. How would we tackle that one?
Right. I think we may need to understand these things from different perspectives. The first step is then to understand what marriage is before we then look at the birth certificates. What happens in marriage and what runs marriage is maturity and wisdom. And usually those come either through learning or through life experience. And it's rare to find a man who is more mature than a woman, especially when they're at the same age. It's there, but it's very rare. So we tend then to face a lot of problems, a lot of challenges in relationships where the levels of maturity are way different and the goals in life are different. So we might not really put a rule to say it can't, but how then to run it, to drive a car that has got a bigger wheel and a smaller wheel in terms of the way it should move. It's difficult, especially when the woman is more mature than the man. It's usually like that, but the way it should be hidden, it becomes so apparent that it's out there that the woman is on the driver's seat. So yes, it's possible, but it's not easy. It's difficult to run.
Thank you so much. So you're saying at times that age difference, we're not only considering age, but the maturity, and that can cause a couple to be unequally yoked. Is that correct? Thank you so much. Pastor Green.
Oh, interesting one. Well, my take is who initiated the relationship, because you might be dealing with someone who is smarter than you and who knows you haven't seen enough to make a choice, and they will make it difficult for you to leave them. That might not be good for you. But if you are young and you are bold enough, you look at her and she tells you, I'm older, and you still say, I don't care. Then why not? Teach us something. Give us a revelation of how it works. Yeah, is it about control? Because I think the fear there is maybe there would be control from the woman if she's older. That's my thinking now. But if she controls things for the good, why not allow her to control? I mean, my wife is younger, But there are some things that I know she can take care of. And you might end up looking for someone who is younger, but maybe they also even look older. And you'll be trying to tell them do you know, she's 5 years younger than me. And there's someone who might be older, but they take good care of themselves. Yeah, so maybe let's put other things into consideration. Do you want children? Is your partner still in the age where she can do that? Because you have to consider her health and the complications that come with time. It's so broad. It's not just cases that people are attacked. Sometimes age comes with complications. There are things that you don't have to expect, and because of age. So it's just a matter of choice and readiness. Make sure if you are the young one and you are a boy, you are not the one looked for. Make sure you have looked for the older. That's all I can say.
Maybe just to add to what Pastor AK said on wisdom, maybe for lack of a better word, we would want to introduce intelligence. Because staying with women is an act as well of intelligence. Because what you would realize for all married people that are here, there is what terms of reference in terms of understanding words. Yes may mean no, no may mean yes, fine may mean I'm not fine, and 30 minutes in a salon can mean 2 hours. So it's an act of intelligence, and the physiological structure as well of a woman, to say you are going for someone 10 years your senior, you're also having to consider the 10 years of intelligence that is ahead of you as well. So for you to be the head of the house, and you need to refer to a senior intelligence that might be required by age, may cause problems. So these are maybe societal or cultural problems, not necessarily problems of a marriage setup. If it can be contained, if you are intelligent enough, you can go for it, but it might have what has been presented to us are maybe cultural or societal problems, to say it's always the norm to get married to someone younger. But if you can handle it, go for it, but there are problems that are associated with it.
Thank you so much, man of God. You know, I feel like this question might have been written also by a woman, and she really wants to know. And it's good for us to hear from the mind of a woman what they have to say about this very same situation.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. The men of God have really answered that question very well. Maybe just to try and be different and maybe a bit radical in this, I would want to say that if you were to ask me that directly, I would tell you it's not the proper thing, it's not the best thing that you can do. Honestly, just looking in reality, just the issue of submission itself, like what Pastor Son was talking about, there's a lot that comes in, and it's easier. I know Dad once spoke about submission, not in relation to something that has happened, that you should just submit, but we know that in ourselves, in the way that we're built, it's easier to submit to someone who is older, someone who's more intelligent, and possibly someone who's also financially more sound. So with that, you know, when you then look at those facts and you're trying to marry somebody who's younger or someone who's older in the aspect of a man, honestly, you're bound to have a lot of challenges. You will definitely have challenges with that one, because you second guess yourself every time she makes a decision. Is she making it because she's got more money? Is she making it because she's older? Is she making it because she's coming from more better experiences than I've had? So it really becomes challenging for you to be the head of the family in that aspect.
Sounds more powerful when it's coming from a woman.
Thank you so much. Okay. For me, marriage is about giving more than you are receiving. So whether you are the woman or the man, you need to be prepared to give more than you are receiving. So for a woman being older, that question can only be answered by you. Are you able to give submission? Are you able to do what is required, not considering your age? And as a man, are you able to give that woman what she requires more than you are getting from her?
Just to hold you there, when you say give what you are required, in your terms, what do you mean?
Okay. Okay, so with the way people are clapping, let's go to the sexual aspect, right? Okay. Women tend to get more tired as they grow. The minute they are more stressed, maybe because of experiences of life or work, their sex drive drops. You get married to a young guy who is ready, and the woman is tired. So in the sexual aspect, that's what I'm talking about. Is she willing to give what that man requires? And is he willing to lower down his expectation because he married a woman who is now tired? Not because of her faults, but because of age. Also financially, maybe women we are taught to work, and if you see a woman who's more maybe in the late 30s or 40s, they've built something for themselves. So you find maybe she's got a house of her own, she's got cars to her name, businesses to her name. You are a young guy in your 20s and 30s, you're still trying to figure out life. Are you okay with getting into your woman's car and you don't have one? Is the woman able to submit that what is mine is yours? Because we have a tendency to say, whatever is for my husband is ours, whatever is mine is mine. So is she willing now to give whatever she has to her husband and say, this is ours? You are still figuring it out, but love is enough. We'll figure it out as we go. So those are questions that only that person can answer. And also depending with what Pastor said, kuti ainga mumwendiani.
That who pursued the other.
So if the man is the one who pursued the woman, for what reason? What did you like about her? Because these days they are sugar mummies. So guys are going for older women because they are lazy to work. They want to be kept. And women also are going for younger guys because they no longer care about being kept because they have enough for themselves. They just want companionship. So that is now a question that needs to be answered by that woman. But most of the time, women end up being vulnerable to younger guys because obviously they know what to say so that you give them money.
You know, Pastor Tari, would you want to contribute to that?
Well, I was going to talk about the reason behind the relationship. So we know that things are changing, the society is changing, we are seeing so many things. So these days it seems as if guys want to be taken care of by women. So they then go for the sugar mummies, and only because she can take care of you. There's also a saying in South Africa there where we say a person kisvare makoti, where a man now actually becomes like a daughter-in-law being kept by the family of the woman. So I think the reason behind should also be established before you enter into the relationship. As a woman, you should know the reason behind the young guy approaching you. Because if he's approaching for the wrong reasons, you might be heartbroken. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you so much. Whilst we're still on that same subject, I feel this question is very sensitive, but it ties in well with the contributions that have been coming from the panel. And I believe that this is coming from a young man. And we understand these dilemmas are happening in our societies, in our personal lives. And he is saying, is it good for a young man with no child to fall in love and marry a girl, I think I want to say woman, with a child already? So it's similar to the previous question, but obviously there is another dimension that have been brought. I don't know, would you want to start, Pastor Green?
Thank you so much, man of God. Well, there is an ideal situation, but then there is a real situation. Practically, we are having more young girls getting pregnant before they even grow up to know themselves. And they get to a stage where they now develop and they are now sure about who they are and what they want in life. And it's okay for me, I think, for them to want to get married. And it's okay for them to get married because there are things that happen before you can choose, but they have already happened and we can't take them back anymore. So there should be a way for them to get in a chance at marriage. But the issue again comes to understanding what it comes with when you are choosing someone who already has a child. If it's a lady that has a child, where is the father of that child? Because they don't come from Sunday school children. Yes. So it's an important question, and I would advise sincerely never to ignore the whereabouts of that man. Because if the man owns a child, they can be quiet for 18 years. But when they see the child is now at university or has now her first check, they will come and claim their right, biological right to that child. So you have to be prepared to deal with a third person. You need to know. You can take a guy who has a child, but expect the mother of the child to call at 2 a.m. one day. Your child is crying non-stop. I gave him everything. It might be difficult to explain that this is where the conversation is starting. You would assume that maybe, there's something going on, something never ended. So there is need to have good understanding if you are single. The best solution, honestly, is what our father said. If you have a child, find someone like you. If you don't, find someone like you. Because there is no woman with a child without a father. There is no father with a child without a mother. So there is always someone for you. Yeah.
So much. Pastor Donald?
All right. I think like Pastor rightfully said, we find ourselves in circumstances that we cannot change. And some circumstances are the same circumstances that may seem like they are bad, but have brought us to church. Especially with the church we find ourselves in is a city of refuge. We came here because of certain situations, some of us that were bedeviling us, and we found refuge and we came back to our senses because we find ourselves in a place where growth and development is so conducive. So I think it really depends on who is entering into such a marriage union. If you think you have the muscle to take it up, I think it's there is no sin. He said a statement, his closing statement was finding a person that is compatible with you. But some situations is that when there is a child involved, we are talking about an act that happened for this child to happen. So whether there is a father or not, it's a situation that already happened. And we have some other people who never had children, but did the same act to produce a child, but no child was produced. So whatever circumstance you find, there are some mothers without children because they did what mothers should be doing. So whether a child was produced then, there are some exes that are as good as husbands that you have to deal with. So when you look at us married couples today, you would not think you introduced and said 16 years of marriage, but to think you introduced it in such a way that is so pleasant. To think that Donald is somebody's ex, and maybe whatever they did there did not produce a child, but the act was so strong that that ex would approach and harass her as if something was supposed to be produced. So it really depends to say on your level of growth, to say, can I take it on? Because whether there was fornication or not, marriage is not for the weak. I believe it's a hard-hit area. There are certain things that marriage requires that I think the preacher in the morning spoke about billionaires. There is something about billionaires that we emulate so much that they've relegated. You look at some of them, they've relegated themselves from the marriage institution because they feel, for me to pursue my goals, I think let me get rid of this particular person or this particular institution. So I think it really depends on who you are, where you want to go, and how you want to do it. If we close the door completely, and we might be actually closing the door to people that have been brought together by this city of refuge. And we must embrace the grace that has been made available, and we have access to that same grace.
Thank you. I'm coming in between the both valid points that my brothers have just alluded, just looking at both sides. The first, like what Pastor Green said, there are situations and scenarios where there will be consultation days, there will be a child who is sick and need to be attended to by both parents. So when you're getting into such a scenario, you must have what we call terms of engagement. Before you get into that relationship, you need to have a conversation in terms of the distance that is going to be kept and how you are going to run the relationship. It can be because it was an ex. It could be that maybe the father is late. So the scenarios can be different. The father might not even be there. But if it was a situation where it was an act of fornication that happened, sometimes this woman is wiser than the one that has not gotten into trouble before. So they have some learnings that they have, and sometimes they need a second chance in their lives. Being a man makes you a father not because you have slept with someone. You become a father because of the care and the taking care of someone. We, myself and my wife, we somehow do take care of people whether they are our biological children or they are not. So there's a first level of love, just loving a person. So that child being there, number one, what we need to know is not that that child is a sin. Being pregnant is not a sin. Fornication is the sin. So it must end there at the level of forgiveness, and the person has repented, and they are now looking forward to build their life, not to have another child out of the wedlock, but they want to build a child. So we go back to the terms of engagement. When you are getting there as a man, you need to know the risks that are there, and you need then to bring in the mitigations to those risks to say, if the child gets sick, is it that both parents, biological parents, are going to be together because probably what is bringing them together is bigger? So these are the things that should be communicated before you engage. But there's nothing that stops us or stops you from marrying someone because they've got a child. A child should not be the question. The question should be, will I be able to handle chipoko kuseruku? So that must be the question. The child should never be the question, because you can still take care of that child, send that child to school. We don't have a child that has completed university, but we have children that have graduated from our contributions. So I don't see a problem with children.
And thank you so much. There's a strong point that you mentioned. I think it's an indicator. And if I heard it well, you said you do not become a father because you have impregnated someone. You can measure yourself as a father even by other people that surround you, because you gave an example of taking care of other people even before, outside of your own biological children. So you're saying it can be a measure for the mother and also for the young man if they are able to take responsibility of the child in question, even if they're not their own child.
And again, men of God, dad can come here and declare that
you'll be married by a young man and you have a
that
child.
woman should receive.
Powerful, powerful stuff. Pastor Linda?
Thank you so much, Pastor. Again, I just want to come in the view of the wife, the girl. We're talking about how a man can step up, become the father, step up, understand the situation or the relationship that happened with the girl, and everything else that's behind them. But again, I would want to also be able to talk to the girl to really understand that sometimes this guy will come in thinking they, for lack of a better word, they're men enough to be able to handle this situation. And yet, as they go along, they begin to see signs like what you're saying, the hospital issues come in play, and then he begins to smell that, okay, men are territorial, right? Because they're territorial, they really want a place that has their own scent. I've seen dogs every time we drive out, we come back in, they want to really show you that this car belongs to us. So they'll definitely do things to their cars, to our cars, to make sure that they are known that this is their territory. And when men then realize that this territory of ours has been, someone else has been there, this is when the hospital things come in play. There are really things that are very uncomfortable that come into play. And honestly, if you are going to get married to such a man who has no child, be prepared for him to refer. I've counseled people who come and say, I've married a man who doesn't have a child. And every time a problem comes, he refers. Chipoko chambotora na pastor, they even when you are in the acts, you're having intimacy, there are things that happen You freeze, you have pain, you have issues that come in play. They always want to refer to chipoko.
the
Am I
ghost
good
from the
enough?
past.
Is what we're doing okay? Is that chipoko better? So those things come in play. So really, honestly, it would be good to get married to a guy, to a boy, but the pain sometimes that comes with that, the things that you have to endure as a woman, you know, the things that you have, sometimes you lose yourself within the marriage itself. Because I believe when you're getting married, it's a commitment, it's a covenant, it's a good thing. But when you're in it, you shouldn't get to a point where you then lose yourself. You lose even your identity just because you want to conform, to align to this young man because you have a child.
I think we're going to move over and take questions that are in the roving mics. Pastor Mangezi.
Thank you so much, men of God. I have some few questions here, but let me start with this. Should a lady settle for a man with a low income? Should a lady help a man financially with part of the marriage requirements?
That's a strong concern. I don't know who would want to tackle that question.
Okay, thank you. All right. I'm assuming maybe they've asked that question because maybe having a man with a lot of money is their main reason for wanting to get married. So obviously a low income would be an issue. But like I said, marriage is about giving more than you are receiving. So when you are looking for someone, you are looking for your assignment. You are going around looking for that one person that God has said, okay, I've got help for this person. Even being a woman, you are looking for a man to help. So if you are there saying you want to get married because you need help, you are not ready to get married, from my own opinion. I remember with him, I want to be real. Our honeymoon night, our honeymoon night, we spent it on the floor. On the floor, literally. We didn't have a honeymoon. But most of you wouldn't accept that. But today, all the girls would say, oh, mama, I wish I could marry a man like Pastor. Are you for real? You mean you want to marry him now after I'm done with my assignment or before the assignment? So you will never get a man that is already okay enough. So in marriage, I don't want to lie to you, women have the most work than men. But the problem is, as girls, we get in there, gown,
And then we're fooled and deceived by that gown.
kitchen party, and we think, oh, I'm now a queen. A queen needs to work in her kingdom. There is a lot that goes into, you know, getting a man with low income is actually better if you have something to contribute. Because after 5 years, you can now have a say to say, okay, we built this together. Can you imagine getting a man with a Range Rover, everything is there, and you know you have absolutely no contribution, even in terms of words, and you can't own that man? Where did he get that from? Why does he need me? Because obviously he does not need help. So why do you want a man that you cannot help? You should be prepared, kunotanga msika, to take
Go
the
and start
kids
your own
to
stall at the
school
market.
whilst your husband is figuring himself out. You should be that kind of a helper. Thank you, Mom and Dad. Okay, so when I met this guy right here, after 1 month of dating, Sekuru Savanu had this norm, kuti vakomana mukaita vasikana, you should come with them, Kumba.
You should bring them home.
So after a month or so, I was introduced Kumba. I was introduced very well. They loved me. He was scared because, right, I'm colored. Sekuru wangu murungu.
Because they'll say
so
that
he was scared. What will these people say? But do you know that I knew that culturally, it was going to be very difficult for his relatives to accept me. Even if Gogo and Sekuru accepted me, I knew I had to work very hard. I went to work. I married him when I was very young. At 17, I went to work in Bay Bridge. Ndikashanda mu creche.
And I worked at a creche?
Every month, I would send Gogo Savanu grocery so that I would make myself a queen before he even marries me. I knew the weaknesses of the holy brother that I had, because my voice angakawanda ku church, kuti aurore mkarad, aurore mskana from another church. But I knew if I win Gogo na Sekuru, this guy ambondirambi.
He'll never reject me.
So it's understanding my assignment to his life. So he was straight from university, no low income to even talk about. There was no job. But I went to go and work. But look at him today, and someone would come and say, oh, I want a man like Pastor Savan. You are not real. So, my advice to that girl is, make sure the guy you have, Aripa low income papo, he is your assignment. You don't want to put a lot of work on someone who's not your assignment. Thank you.
Wow. So real, so powerful. Let's get more of the questions from the roving mics. Pastor Mashonganyika.
Thank you. At what level are you supposed to submit to a girl or a boy in a relationship? Are you even supposed to submit in a relationship unless you are married to that person? And maybe also, maybe if you can pair up a second question, if it's okay, maybe it might go in hand. The person here is asking, how am I supposed to also know it's the right time for me to get into a relationship or even to get married?
Thank you. So, I think only that is this generation that mostly grew up in the city. In the rural areas, in the rural homes, they knew which rains were for planting. You don't just go and plant because there's rain. When you are in a relationship, it might not be the first and the last. You are allowed. You are allowed to get into several relationships, but one at a time. And that depends on the stage or level of commitment that relationship is at. And when we look into the Word of God, there are provisions that are there, the terms of engagement in relationships. And submission is at a level of husband and wife. So there will be a time when you get married, then you will be submitting to your own husband, not boyfriend. The dangers of quickly submitting when you are experimenting, you won't be able to investigate well. Because what he says goes. You need to be able, that is the time where you are supposed to ask my questions. Tirimuno relationship.
We're in this relationship.
Rini.
What's your intentions with me and when?
You know, such questions are difficult when you are then in marriage. So you need to be able to ask questions, and we need to also differentiate the difference between submission and respect. You can still respect each other, but on that mission that man has, it has to first be acceptable to you, for you then to join him. Then you will be sub, because sub means under. Then there is the mission of that man. And when only he becomes your husband, will you be under his mission. But if you're experimenting, you are checking out and trying to see whether you are compatible or not, it's investigation time, and take it as is. There is no provision for submission in the Bible. Remember, I take the second one. If I remember well, it's when do you know that you are ready for a relationship? I will leave the other part for the ladies, but for men, you need to go back again into the Word of God. When did Adam get married? It is at a time when he was now able to handle a plow, to till a garden, to look at the fruits, and to look at whether the time of harvest is now or not. So for a guy, you need to get married, or you see that you are ready when you now have the income or the capacity to generate income. From the perspective of Pastor Lynn's, as she was encouraging the ladies, she was very, very right. On the other hand, that should not give you guys comfort. You must know that you are the head of the house. And you must bring chocolates, not tongues, when they are required. There are needs that are needed which should come from a father. And you should be able to provide. And when you get married, and then probably you are at the lower income, that woman must have seen a vision in you. If you don't have a vision, you are a wrong candidate. So men, you need to know, when we get these women, we need to take care of them. It's
not only Vaseline that they use on their faces.
They have their own wardrobes that are bigger than yours, 10 times bigger than yours. You can have 2 shoes, they'll be having 20 shoes. And you must know the price. You must know where they came from. And you must provide. So as a man, you know that I am ready to get married when you see that you have got the capacity to take care of a woman. Thank you.
Pastor Green, Pastor Tari.
Thank you. I think with regards to women, for you to say, I'm now ready to get into a relationship, you should look at issues like, are you ready to submit to someone before anything else? And just like Pastor Lindsay said, you should also look at what you are also able to give in that relationship. So it's a matter of knowing whether you will be able to submit to someone for you to say, I'm now ready to be in a relationship. And also the intentions of you getting in a relationship. Because you can't just say, I'm now ready to get into a relationship when you don't even have an intention of why or a reason of why are you getting into a relationship. So you must know the reason why you now want to engage in a relationship and also what you are also going to be able to give in that relationship. Because it's not just a matter of having expectations to say, I want this from a partner. What are you also going to be able to give in that relationship? That's my opinion.
Pastor Donald?
Okay, thank you. On the ladies' side, I think you are ready to get into a relationship when you are now able to take care of yourself. Not wanting to take care of the next person before you can fix your own bed. We've got girls here, vanomutswa makuseni kunzimuka ugezi.
Woken up in the morning.
Fix your bed. Go find something to do. Usaswere pa TikTok.
Don't spend all day on TikTok.
When you are now able to take care of yourself and be responsible for yourself fully, and you have extra to give to someone else's son, then you are ready. Also for the guy, you should be able to take care of yourself. When such people meet, they allow each other to fly and they'll be clapping hands for the other party to say, well done, you are doing this, well done, you are doing that. It's children who have met and they are growing up together because they have something to share between the two of them. Not because your hormones are flying all over the place, you feel marriage is all about sex, oh now I'm ready. No. You are not ready. Because a 15-year-old child can have very high hormones, but they don't even know how to wake up in the morning. Some are still bedwetting. So that is not a reason why you would say now you want to get married. When you can now take care of yourself. That's why we come to church. We are groomed very well on how to keep yourself composed, how to keep yourself well, how to take care of yourself, how to work, how to do something for yourself as a girl, as a guy. So us sharing that divine energy in church, then we end up finding each other at that level. Then we are ready to get into a relationship. And yes, what Pastor is saying, I guess for guys, it's easy for you to say ndichiri kumboona kuti musikana anoita ndeu because takawanda panapa vasikana vane mashape akasiyana siyana wombohaga ari slim wombohaga akadai.
Sometimes you hug the slim one, you hug another.
For us girls, when we get into a relationship, kazhinji kachona tinopinda nemoyo.
Most times we go in with our whole heart.
So you should do your due diligence very, very well if someone asks you out. Is this guy at the stage of wanting a wife or achiri kumbo uona kuti shape yaanokwanisa kugara naye yakaita sei?
Oh, he's still trying to decide what type of shape he can live with.
So I think also you need to see on the other side, if you are a girl, if that guy also is ready. If you are not ready, it means you'll find someone who's not ready.
I picked a point there. There's a joke that I saw last week. What Pastor Lynn said, to say guys are different. They can get into a relationship with you because they're still choosing, they are measuring. And that joke went like this. The lady asked the guy, said, why do guys end up marrying the girls that they were not dating in their youth? And then the guy said, why do you think we do not submit rough work for marking?
Pastor Green, you want to come in?
You can't add on that one. But basically, when you know yourself, then you know that it's time to get married. And there's just the part that I feel like when we're talking about the first part of the question, which required people to get to know each other before they know that this is the one and everything. If you spend time in a relationship doing the right things, you know whether you're about to make the right decision or not. The problem that I have seen is that we start with the wrong thing. And when people have sex, you are already thinking about submission before you have even completed whether it's the right person or not. I've seen that sex removes reasoning. You won't investigate anything after the act. You are already compromised, and what you are going to be doing there is just a patching up of a messed up situation. It's a danger. I would believe that once you have sex, that's not the right person.
You mean before marriage?
Before marriage, yes. You are not objective anymore. Because to a woman, I have learned that it means something different altogether. It confirms you love her. You have chosen her. But it is not the same for many young, wild men. It's conquering. Because they go back to say, that
I'm done with this one.
And you never hear that from him. So if you can keep something, keep yourself as you are deciding. Get to know each other. Okay, so in conclusion, maybe when you are now saying, am I submitting? You know what you are submitting to. Because you have seen the respect without you giving him the only thing that he needs most from you. It's your body. But if he can still respect you, he speaks to you nicely without getting that, knowing that he is not going to get it before marriage, then you know the submission is not a story to talk about. It's automatic. You are in love. You relate well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, great panel. You're dealing with our confusions. I think we need to get more questions from the roving mic, Pastor Mangezi.
Thank you, Pastor. This one is saying, my mom disapproves of my boyfriend. When asked her, she gives no valid reasons. But sometimes she says his aunt practices witchcraft and attacked her in a dream. She even threatened to kill him if he continues to be with me. He wants to marry me now and knows about her disapproval. We have been together for 6 years now, but we kept it a secret. What should I do? That's the question.
I think we quickly need to get into this one.
Oh, okay, thank you so much for the question. So from the composition of the question, I think the previous topic or subject will answer this question. As much as we've been together for 6 years, the answer is you are not ready for marriage. Because we can't be talking about dreams and witches at relationship stage. We are still going to go to conception. After that, you will always have a story if you do 2 months without a child. I think you can't start by involving the mother and the aunt before you have made a decision that this person is the right person. And families, unless they know the partner from somewhere, what they know about your spouse is what you tell them. You don't go blindly, right? we are about to go to my mom. Hey, behave yourself. She doesn't like A, B, C, D. When you go there, she will, if you love your partner, your parents normally should see that my son, my daughter, they are in love, they are happy. What they are looking for is, are you in a safe environment and are you happy? They are not looking at the skin, they are not looking at where he is coming from. So basically, let's get to mature first, and then we commit to relationships when we have overcome other minor stories.
All right, in the multitude of counsel, there is safety. So it really depends from which angle mom is coming from, whether they are coming from a place of safety or a place of criticism, because I don't think it's totally correct maybe to understand the context maybe of the question to say, did she just come and say, I dreamt of this without other ways? Because that could be her wisdom to try and penetrate to maybe a novice in a particular area. So it could be that mom is just trying to ward off the relationship by introducing witchcraft to say, I had a dream and this, the mother or the aunt is a witch. So it really depends from the context, from where the mom is coming from. Because marriage in its totality requires that sometimes the warnings that come to warn you away from impending danger. Because when two people are in love, really at the end of the day, they don't see certain things. I think the lady sitting next to me, you can see her color and mine. I don't think she even realized the color because she had just fallen in love. But the minute she maybe noticed, she was already in marriage. So these are things that really don't matter at the end of the day. But sometimes it's the wisdom of parents that come in to say, how can we save our daughter from this impending danger? But if also, because it's good that the person asking this question is amongst us. That's why we have lovely pastors here, and we have such a place that we can always, take it on with our pastors to say, this is my scenario. And if the pastor is going to be truthful to you to say, we also feel you are not yet ready for marriage. So it's a safety net, I believe, that is being provided. So you also have to check yourself to say, am I ready for this? What is my development like? Because marriage is not only about, like I said, we are a sum total of intelligence. There is not only IQ that we check your emotional intelligence, how you react socially, how you react creatively. Because these are subjects that we are all learning. When I got married, there are things that I didn't know about myself that I'm later on discovering as we go. There are people who have high IQ, but boring to be with. They are not creative. I want a creative intelligence. You talk about a movie, they'll tell you, this is not adding any value to me. So you talk about many other things. You talk about popcorn, you talk about anything else. I was once such a guy, quite boring to stay with. But with time, I then discovered, no, there are things that need to be done. So all those layers of growth, all those layers of intelligence, I think are very important. So mom could be coming from a place of safety and just trying to protect a daughter from impending danger.
Pastor Green says, know yourself, know what you're after. And Pastor Sawanu says, in the multitude of counsel, there is safety. So do your investigations. That mom might also be a safety net for you. Pastor AK.
Yeah, thank you, Pastor. I think the person who asked the question really needed to put some more information to the question, because waking up thinking that your mother all of a sudden can give you wrong advice, she must have done so in the past. If that's her character, that she's self-centered and then she gives you wrong advice, probably you've got the reason to then suspect that she's putting forward her feelings and her relationships within the community above yours. So that background is also important to this question. However, there is also a danger of failing to make decisions because you get this one, it's a no, and this one, it's a no, and this one, it's a no. So you have to have that balance. But to put the two together, you must then know with what you have now that you are faced with two choices: choosing your boyfriend or choosing your mom. Because there are two relationships that are coming together now. Your mom, yes, might allow you to go in. If you understand your mom well, that she will come to a point of forgiving you, probably you can try to manage her using certain relatives. If she's a believer, probably you can go through her pastor, maybe her brother, or someone she listens to, probably to try to knock sense if you think you are right. But if you think that she could be 50% right, she is 100% right. So you really have to make a choice there. Because once you go there, if anything happens the other side, the answer here, it will be, I told you. So, yes, without the much background to the question, I would think that if you think your mother is 50% right, she's 100% right. If you think she's putting her feelings ahead of yours, do not go against the grains. Look for someone who your mother listens to. She must have a place where she submits to, so that that person can speak to them, so that your move is not an emergency. Your move will have some reason in between, because you still need these two relationships. The other one started before you even saw the world. And then the other one is an experiment. So you have to move wisely there and with a lot of consultation to get wisdom.
Thank you so much.
If you allow me, Pastor Lovemo, I had an afterthought.
Sure.
Just a scenario of Samson, as anointed as he was going to marry the wrong woman. And a lion came out, and he did not take that as a warning from the mother. Instead, he defeated it and created a poem only to suffer in the marriage. So maybe when the lion roared, he was not supposed to fight it, but run back home as a sign that Mama might be seeing something. Yeah, that's all.
Powerful, powerful. Who's enjoying our session so far? Mind-blowing answers. We're in the thickets in the woods, but thank God there's a light that is taking us out. Pastor Mashonga Nyika, if we can have another question from you.
My boyfriend of 7 years cheated on me in 2024 with a younger girl from his wood. He grew cold towards me, kundipopotera, getting angry at everything I did, and later on, to discover that he's still with the girl. That was last year. He lied to her that I am his sister. I was hurt, but I forgave him again. Now I feel a bit suffocated in the relationship. I don't know whether I should stay or give up. What if I leave and he's the one for me, only to suffer more later? But what if I stay and never be happy again with him? The second part. Is it right that a man can have a girl for 8 years and then let her go after wasting all these years? Am I not supposed to have a spare wheel since my time can be wasted as a girl?
Thank you so much. Over to you, panel. Pastor Linda.
Thank you. I'll answer the first question. Maybe the first, I think the rest of the team, everyone else was just answering that question. Honestly, why are you still with that guy? Why?
I can answer you why she's still with that guy. She's given more than she was supposed to.
Really?
So letting go of someone who has your stuff.
Exactly. And you know what? You mentioned something when you were talking the other time. You said, in order for you to know that you're ready for any relationship, you have to be able to take care of self. So this person clearly doesn't care. They don't care. They don't know how to take care of themselves. They don't know themselves, rather. Because at the end of the day, I can't give anything out that I don't have. So if I love myself enough, I'll be able to know how to love the next person. So I would say she's actually a danger to that guy. If I was that guy doing the very things to her and remaining in such a relationship, oh my goodness, you're in trouble. Because she is a danger. Someone about to explode. Because she doesn't understand who she is. She doesn't value herself. You have to put value on self first.
All right. Can I just respond with another question? It's the same question. Is something, because she says, if I leave, what if I suffer? Is there not a fear that maybe this guy, because I hear people talk about soulmates, she feels that maybe this guy, if I leave this guy and I never find another guy good for me.
Exactly. And I like and I like the parts where you say, is she the soulmate issue?
Pastor Linda, sorry,
yes?
Pastor Linda, just to hold you there.
Yes.
I just want to add a question to what Pastor Lovemore said concerning the question there.
Uh-huh.
Is the problem on cheating or is the problem on the number of years?
I think it's the number of years. And in the number of years, it's about what has happened in the 7 years.
7
years. She has given herself, like what Pastor Lindsay is saying, there's something that has happened. You can't stay for 7 years, be cheated on several times, and just stick to the relationship for the sake of it. It means you have committed more.
So,
yeah.
She's afraid that it will be taken from me.
There is no other sign that will come more than the sign of Jonah.
Pastor AK, come again, Pastor AK.
I'm saying there is no other sign that will come more than the sign of Jonah. If you remember the scripture, yes, God cannot speak louder than this. You know, marriage has no expiry date. A relationship can end any time. So the fact that you were foolish does not stop the arrival of wisdom. So the discovery of this act was a lesson that should have brought wisdom. And coming again, surely even if it's a dream, it would have happened because it's established in the spirit. You cannot be told louder than this. These days, there is sickness. More than just soul ties. And you have got someone who is not committing to you by loving you the way they should. Yes, we preach and talk about mistakes that may be there. And then you are having a situation of a man that makes himself Abraham and calls you a sister for no apparent reason, just to justify you to be a passenger in this relationship.
Yeah, but whilst you're there, I'm just trying to get into the mind of this girl, because it's 7 years. And maybe she's coming from a strong sermon where forgiveness was preached so hard that she found it in her spirit to forgive. And the word of God also says, because I heard another one ask about submission, the word of God also says, he who finds a good wife. So the wife was already found. That's why she's staying. She's saying, if this was going to happen in the marriage, what would I do? So I'm already a wife. So I'm not going to leave because I'm a good wife.
So this lady, pastor, this lady is wiser now. The fact that she asked this question is coming from a wise person. A wise person who is fighting the foolish one. So she is wiser right now. And she should choose between the two. In the past, there was the foolish one. And right now she has been developed to be wise. Asking a question like this is a lot of wisdom. And she should pursue that wisdom. She should choose life. Leave this guy, she will still find someone.
You know, I wanted to say something along those lines, Pastor AK, that I think this girl is a serious ministry of patience. If she could actually find someone to help her, she would be a very good businesswoman. Because those 7 years being patient, building up something for herself, she could be so far away. So I know she's here because anotoziva kuti ndiri mu situation iri wrong.
Because she already knows that.
But andina simba rekubuda maybe because of investment yandatoisa.
But because of the investment.
In business there is profit and loss. You watobhadara school fees yako
You've already
buda.
paid your tuition fees. You can
Go and find something to do for yourself. Already you have proven that 7 years you can be patient with a fool. So it means Kuti, if you are patient with your packet of sweets, you can bring a multi-million-dollar business to your life.
And I think, just to add, Pastor, I think courtship is about knowing each other, two different identities coming together. You have seen this person has identified themselves, they have chosen their path, and you are choosing not to go along that path. You know, she has chosen to be sweet, to probably so much sweetness to a person probably who is diabetic. So you are the wrong person with all that sweetness for that particular person. So you can be working on something that is not meant for that particular person. So you could actually be wrong. That person has chosen what they want. They've shown it. They have proved it. And you have seen all the telltale signs. The red flags are there. They are apparent. This is problem. So I think it's always good to respect that, the discoveries that you have made, and move on with life. There's so many fish in the sea. That's why we are at Jesus Camp.
Sorry, Pastor Lovemore. I'm in a bit of a quandary here because I'm being pinched by a couple of people who are in the same notion of the second question, which seem to be something that our panelists are going to be addressing in a few moments. Is it bad at some point in time when a girl realizes that this guy is not committing for her to find someone else? Because my question in this, together with the youth, is what if this relationship falls into shambles, maybe in year 5, and I've been with him, now I'm already 28 years. And my age clock is actually ticking. Am I not supposed at some point in time look for someone who can be a friend close by, who can be a spare wheel close by, that I can get to talk to, and maybe you might never know, he might be the guy. Because look at this tragedy. This is 7 years was 2024. It means 2026 now, this is 9 years. She's getting into a doctorate, a master's, and a philosopher's degree in relationship. What should this person do, or someone in such a situation who is a girl? Because a girl is always disadvantaged than a boy.
Okay, thank you so much for this question. When you realize that you are in the wrong bus, it's better to stop wherever you are and try to find your way back. than to continue and let's say, I wanted to go there, but since this bus is going there, I'll just go. It's going to be more expensive. This place, there's an opportunity to stop through the advice that is coming now. There is something that is now happening. People are entering into things without proper definition. Some are not relationships. Some are situationships. Where the guy is getting everything he should be getting from a wife without taking the responsibility of the one providing everything. A comfortable guy does not react. If he is not missing anything, forget about developing that relationship. Why should he consider you for marriage? It will be 20 years. He will marry a girl he meets in 3 months. So it's better for us to really define. I mean, for 5 years, you can't talk to your boyfriend openly about marriage. What then are you talking about? What are you spending time doing? There should be that openness at a certain stage that it's not a taboo. It's not speed. We've been together for a long time. I should know now that we are planning something. Yes, so let's evolve from situationships and really have proper defined relationships. This bus, where is it going? That's where I'm paying to go, and you enter. Thank you.
Thank you so much, dear panelists. And now we want to move over to Pastor Mangezi. But from your answer, I would want to know, does that mean every relationship, courtship, is meant for marriage as the final destination?
Yeah, can I pick that? I think it's a very thin line. It's a very thin line. It's not necessarily that when we get into a relationship, we are headed for marriage, but we do have a potential to be headed for marriage. We are not getting into a relationship to sleep together. We are getting into a relationship that we know each other, because inside me, my body is telling me that at one point I would need to get married. So yes, at the end there is marriage, but it's not compulsory that each relationship should end in marriage. If there is a danger warning sign, it's time to stop. So you are not bound. We are having a culture that we think Americans do and accept. We pick the culture of Americans who are on the extreme side, where someone stays with a girl together and they're sleeping together. And this one day the guy comes and says, he kneels down and say, "Will you marry me?" And this woman gets surprised. Wow. So, I mean, you start to think, to say, but what has been happening all this time? There was no expectation of marriage. We used to stay next to a university in Bulawayo, and our space was a little bigger, and we used to have students who would come from all over the country. So we used to stay with some students, give them the other rooms because they were close to the school. You'll be shocked what is happening, men of God. You can have your daughter for 4 years staying with a guy in the same room, same bed, cooking for that guy for 4 or 5 years. And when they come here, they will be in the youth, they will be in the Sunday school, and you won't suspect what is happening. I think we have lost it in terms of what really we are looking for. Surely in a relationship, there's no sex. It's not found there. When you find it there, you are stealing, or someone is not doing the right thing. So whether by error or by planning, it's not supposed to be found there. So this is where our heartbreaks are coming, where Pastor Linz was saying, there's a soul tie. This soul tie is, surely you should have a soul tie of being a prayer partner with the guy. Probably that way, not of sleeping together. The reason why we cannot disembark from these relationships is because you'll be thinking that, I'm no longer what I was before. The next guy is going to ask me, what happened to you? So let us not, lose our guard so quickly. Yes, we do have those that have already made mistakes, but that should not be a justification of making another mistake. Let us know now that we get into relationships. The end game is marriage, but it's not a must that particular relationship must end in marriage. This person, anonduwanira kuanmun. Let me just be blank and blunt here. So me and my wife, when we got married, we were not as learned as most of us here in terms of what happens. We faced struggles. And those struggles, they look like maybe we were dumb or we were not wise. She was a spiritual sister, Kuchkoro. And I was called a pastor before I became a pastor. And tangataka pusa.
And we were not wise.
But kupusa iko, I think, is the right thing.
But that lack of knowledge or wisdom was the right thing.
We really tried, and we had read about honeymoon and all other things in the books, and it did not happen that way. Because we had not experienced pornography, we had not experienced a lot of things. So some of these things you would rather appear stupid now and then be wiser later.
Thank you so much.
So my advice, men of God, to the youth, if you made a mistake in the past, there is a provision for grace. But let's not continue making these mistakes. And we get into a relationship, and in this day and age, you ask a question to say, is kissing allowed? Why are you asking that question?
That's powerful. Your reaction says it all. I will ask Pastor to read out one more question, and maybe in the next 10 minutes, if we can all share wisdom on that question, then we'll have something special coming our way straight after that. Pastor Mangezi.
Thank you, men of God. The question here is saying, how do you handle liking a guy who likes you back, but you are more spiritual than him? If you have to push him to pray, can he really be the head of the house one day?
Okay, thank you so much. Maybe Pastor Donald, Pastor Lindy, you want to go first?
All right, I think we know a story of the 10 virgins. 5 were wise and 5 were foolish. But it's also important to note that the 10 of them were virgins. But I'll also go back to that. There is something that made the other 5 to be called foolish, because they didn't have certain oil. So there's a certain level that is required for you to be called a husband. And prayer could be one of them, but it's not all of them, because you are a sum total of a whole picture. You are not mapped out by one particular thing. Because like I said, you can be spiritually intelligent, but with a low IQ in another aspect, or you are not practical. So I think there is, marriage does have so many facets of which we should then submit to, but it's not only one thing that builds a person. This person cannot pray being foundational. Prayer is foundational, but what then qualifies you to say he doesn't pray? What then qualifies you to say this person, what type of gauge possibly did you use? What is it, a spiritometer to check his spirituality? Because there is quiet intelligence. There are people that when you look at them, they look spiritually dull, but are the very foundations of the faith that you stand on. So I don't really know how she might have gauged that, because what we call power, at one point I thought power was making people fall. But at a later stage, I then realized that I can make certain thoughts fall without having to lay my hands on through sound teaching. So I think it really depends on what you think power is, what spirituality is, and you may think that you are actually more spiritual, but maybe more of a noisemaker during prayer, and this person is actually a warrior in his silence.
The gentlemen seem to be supporting you, Pastor
Okay,
Linda.
I also support what he's saying. I'm trying to put myself in her shoes. I'm thinking maybe this guy does not go to church. So
she's trying to convert him?
because there's no way you would want to push someone to pray yet you coming to church together, getting the same word, then watch team gauge akuti this person is not feeding enough as I am feeding, or
or she wants to be married to a pastor.
this is what is coming into my mind. Yet all these reasons, if it is that, then it becomes the wrong reasons. Like what he's saying, some people may be quiet, but it may be spiritual giants. So now it depends if her foundation of what she says is marriage, maybe is noise in the prayer room, then maybe she might need a mentor. Whatever paduze na mindfulness.
To ingratiate herself to the lady pastor.
In support of what she was just saying, true, the way you measure, like what Pastor San was saying, do you really have a spiritometer, if there is something like that, to actually say this person is more spiritual and this person is not spiritual? But at the end of the day, we do have things that you should be putting as measure, especially the word. I would assume that probably this person is in church, so they are saved already. So do you have conversations? Do you have times where you sit down and you converse and you especially put the word down and you dissect it together? Is it not sound? Is that what is making you say there's not just prayer? Because prayer in itself doesn't really have a place. We don't cease to pray. So I might not be coming up, holding a chair, running up and down and, groaning and everything to show you that I'm spiritual. But maybe I'm forever praying because I don't cease to pray. So, but I would think if you were to sit him down, you converse, you speak, the word that is in him will give you the kind of value that is in that guy and would probably tell you if he can lead you, if the kind of maturity that he has.
Powerful. I loved the backstory of your lives, just so that we could have understanding from your personal union as a couple, Pastor AK and Mama. How has spirituality impacted your union? How do you gauge spirituality in your union? You wanted to stand up.
All right, so I'll take you back. I think myself and Linda, we didn't fall in love, we walked into it. So it was at a time when we did not have WhatsApp, and that taught us a lot of patience. We were not affected by the demon called blue tick. So we would write letters to each other. And like what she said, she's saying it's easier to measure someone by the amount of word that is in them. That is a clear gauge, because that's what is in you. That is what is coming out of you. So we would write letters. So when she writes letters, I still have the letters at home. She wrote those letters 23, 24 years ago. I've got them at home. You would need a Bible next to you. Right? A Bible next to you. Because she would go through that sentence, paragraph. It's got its own scripture, its explanation. There was a little, I think at the end, that's where she would tell me that she loves me. But that part amongst the girls, I was a guy who was exposed to many girls. Yes. I was really exposed. Girls liked me. So, because generally, in terms of behavior, even where we went to church, even parents would point and say, only if our daughter is married by this guy, because of the way they saw us growing and the way we were, skewed in terms of the things of God. And I had a confusion in me of making a choice. But I think the letters that she was writing, because she started writing these letters even before we started to be together. She started writing these letters, asking questions, and that started to say something in me. And in as much as it was my body that he had seen her, because initially I saw her in choir singing, and I lusted after her. But then I was not so sure. But what then buttressed this relationship was then the amount of word that was coming from her. She was very prayerful, very, very prayerful. But that did not move me. But the amount of word that she continued and to share with me, and I needed to prove myself that I also understand the word, because she would ask questions. She believed in me more than what I was. I didn't have that kind of information she was looking for in me. So I would say, discovering that she loved the word of God really buttressed the fact that I should go for her. It reinforced my lust, and then I went for her.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Pastor Green, what spirituality means to you and Pastor Tari in your relationship, maybe in the next 1.5 minutes, just a few words.
All right.
What it means.
Yes. Well, for us, we were not the ideal couple that I could recommend. We did not start in a way that I would say you can copy. But when I saw that my wife is committed to me, I had so many reservations. I studied her. She did not know I was studying. But there was something which was outstanding. I knew she loved me. There was nothing in me. I knew that if I betray this one, I'm the one betraying her. She loves me. That I knew. And then I had to sit down with my wife and I said, where you're coming from and where I'm coming from, the Modena family and your family, there are so many things that will not support us being together. But we have a Father in the Spirit. And for us to continue in this relationship, what he says, what our mother says, is our law. We agreed on that, and it's 10 years now. we are living on the word we receive in here.
Wow. Wow.
So that's our spirituality. Prayer, she prays more than me. Yeah, but I solve the questions that she gets from prayer.
Thank you so much, Pastor Lindsay and Pastor Donald. Oh, Pastor Tari.
Yes, if you would allow me to just say a few words to the ladies in the house. I couldn't answer some of the questions with regards to the relationships that are taking longer. What I would say is, if somebody really loves you, they would go all out to make sure that they marry you. I will take our relationship as an example. He was still a student when we got married. I had just started working. I didn't help him to pay my bride price. I would lie if I say that. He had to go and look for sneakers to sell for him to marry me. So if somebody really wants to marry you, they'll find a way to do it.
So powerful. We now have to round up. If you'd want to say a couple of words.
I think just to round it up, for us, service was the pinnacle of our spirituality in terms of serving God and loving God. And what guided us was a particular scripture that says, "He who is joined to Christ is one spirit with him." So we agreed to say that we are problematic to ourselves. So without Christ, even if we lose each other, we would still find ourselves in Christ. But the very apex of us and our spirituality is having parents, people who guided us, who are still guiding us up to today. Because without that, yeah, we are a handful. You find us joking, we love each other to bits, but when we fight real good. So that's the love. That's who we are. So we serve God, and that's our oxygen. And we love the people that God has given us as parents, and their direction is all that we have.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a round of applause to our wonderful love panel. 2026 love panel. Your wisdom has been so enlightening to us. A beacon of light that has taken us out of our own confusions. And I'm sure love is now bubbling in the air. The atmosphere is now different for us. And just to make this afternoon that extra special, that extra exciting, we want to call back Mr. Danielson, Mr. Kiwa. Love is moving in the air. We'll ask you, our panelists, just give us those love vibes again, you know, with your hands held together, taking us through. We're inspired by you. So much love in the air. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome and put a round of applause for Mr. Danielson Musekiwa. Please, let's enjoy. What a special moment. and gentlemen, this has been the Love Panel 2026. We have one more request for Mr. Denelson Masikiwa. We're asking him to come back. We just can't get enough of love in the air. Yeah. So let's give a round of applause as we call him back. He has to come back. We couldn't get enough. Yeah. It's been a wonderful afternoon. Love is beautiful. Thank you so much, Mom and Dad, for a beautiful afternoon. We'll ask our parents to have their way as we give them a round of applause. Come on, give big shout of praise. A big, big shout of praise. Wow. Oh my God. The Jesus